Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be making a recipe for Spudnuts. Isn't that a great name? Spudnuts. When I saw the recipe, I said, what's that? And then I proceeded to read it and it sounded absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, I had to look it up on the internet to see more and learn more about the spudnut. It turns out the spudnut is a donut. A donut made out of potatoes. Nut, spudnut makes perfect sense, right? And I have lovely Kelly to thank for introducing me to the spudnut because she sent me this. The Mini Tour of Alaska. It's a book by Leonore Smith Miller. It contains all kinds of facts about Alaska and a bunch of recipes as well. So here's the book. Isn't that a great cover? And this is what it looks like inside. Look at that courier font. But today we are going to be making this recipe right here. Right there, Spudnuts. Apparently the name for Spudnuts goes back to the 1940s when there was an actual donut chain called Spudnuts that was based in Salt Lake City, Utah. It has since gone under. I believe it happened in 1979, but they made a donut that was made with potatoes. And I believe it's based on a German potato donut called Fastnacht. And that wasn't a very catchy name, so they changed the name to Spudnuts. Using mashed potatoes in bread is not a new idea. I would imagine it came from using up leftovers, but I also think that it was probably a good way to retain moisture in the bread. And when you have bread, why not fry it and make it sweet? Because we always need something sweet for the kids, as Auntie Fee would say. Kelly and Andy, thank you so much for sending me this terrific book. They also sent me a bunch of other things to taste from Alaska, including reindeer sausage. So once we finish making our Spudnuts, I want to definitely give these a taste. This is the regular local and this one is the hot. And Kelly says these are incredible. And they sent me a little t-shirt as well. Kelly, Andy, thank you so much for taking the time and effort to send me such a beautiful package. It's so very, very thoughtful of you. And thanks so much for watching my videos. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. Right, we're gonna mix up our dry ingredients. I have a lot of flour here, 6 cups. We're gonna have a lot of donuts. And to that, we're going to add our baking powder, 4 teaspoons. And baking soda, I believe that's 1.5 teaspoons. I'll put a link to my website that'll include the recipe. And we've got our seasonings. Look at that. This is what's going to give us, I think, the classic donut flavor. I'm suspecting, because I haven't made this style of donut before, but this is mace and nutmeg. So you get that beautiful spice flavor that I associate with powdered donuts. Thumbs up, right? And some salt. Whisk is right here. So this is quite a big batch. Now, I have visited Alaska. It was a number of years ago, and I have to say it is just spectacular. And I only saw a small part of it. I went to Denali, and of course I flew into Anchorage. Didn't spend too much time in Anchorage, but what a marvelous place. I feel kind of similarly about Montana too. Just incredible. Special places. Okay, so we've got our dry ingredients mixed. Next, we're going to do our wet. We need 3 eggs. These are eggs from my chickens. That's why they're all different colors. Aren't they pretty? Mix that up. Now I'm going to add a bloop of vanilla. By the way, if you love this t-shirt, which was inspired by the blooping of vanilla, you should click the link down below to see how you can get one. This design is based on an old handbag I used to carry when I was in middle school. And if you know, you know. All right, now a bunch of sugar. Along with some butter, melted. This is gonna be good. And milk. Oh, we can't forget our potatoes. Rest of our sugar. And mashed potatoes, I warmed these just for about 30 seconds so they weren't stone cold. I'm thinking that will help with the blending process. And the rest of the milk. It's a lot of liquid, but we have a lot of flour. So indeed, this is a little lumpy from the potatoes, but I think once we mix it in with our flour, we should be good because it's gonna form a dough. A bit chunky. So I've got a great big bowl and I'm gonna need it for the amount of food we've got here. So add my dry ingredients. I'm gonna use my Danish whisk and make a little bit of a divot in the middle if I can, and add my wet. Ooh, what a sound. I'm just gonna dump it all in and mix it up. And then we just form these into balls, it says. Oh my gosh, the mace and the nutmeg smell so stinking good. I never knew mace was the secret kind of spice in donuts. All right, so here is our dough. See why I like this whisk so much? It's got such big holes in it. It makes really great quick work of mixing a stiff batter like this. And it's sturdy enough. You know, the regular kind of whisk with its whiskers, the wires are too thin. They're not sturdy enough. Oh yeah, good workout. Lot of dough here. So I think I should have not. I was singing your praises and you do this to me? Okay. So I think my mashed potatoes are lumpy. As you can see, there are bits of mashed potato in there. So I had mashed my potatoes earlier today. So if you make this recipe, make your mashed potatoes right before you make your donuts because then they'll be nice and soft and not cold. I thought warming them up would help, but I still see lumps of potato. Maybe mashing it with a spatula will help. A little bit. But if you use freshly cooked mashed potatoes, like immediately cooked, you probably won't have this problem, I'm imagining. Use soft mashed potatoes. Okay, I think this is working. This is my first time making this recipe. Did not give me any tips about mashed potatoes being soft or hard or otherwise. Okay, that's gonna be good enough for me. So I've got my Fry Daddy heating up my peanut oil here. It's about 350 degrees. I like using something like this because it's smaller and taller. You don't need as much oil to get that nice deep depth for deep frying. And I also like the idea of having a specific cooker just for cooking sweet things. I have deep fried donuts before in a Dutch oven that I used to cook fried chicken and stew, and my donuts tasted like onions, so it was terrible. So this is my dedicated sweet fryer. We'll see how it goes. This is the first time I'm using it, so Fry Daddy, don't fail me. I've got a little ice cream scooper. Let's see how well this works for the donuts. And we're just gonna drop them in. All right, oil's hot. They're sinking to the bottom, and we just fry until they're golden. Whenever deep frying, you don't want to add too many because it'll reduce the temperature very, very quickly. Oh, and they're floating. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, these look great. I much prefer this scooping frying method to shaping donuts. Much, much faster. Oh my gosh, these look fantastic. Can you see these? Look at that. Those are sick. Oh my goodness, fry balls of dough. I love. I hope they're cooked inside. Oh, careful. All right, so maybe we should use tongs. Better yet, slotted spoon, because these are quite heavy. Oh my gosh, look at that perfection. Oh, perfect. Okay, Fry Daddy gets a thumbs up from Mama. Love it. So we're gonna let these cool off, and then we're gonna roll them in powdered sugar. Alrighty, my lovelies, I will be back once my balls are all fried. Alrighty, my lovelies, I have fried up all of my spud nuts, and I have to say, while initially I really liked my scooping technique with my little ice cream scooper, I found that the balls were, although very round and beautiful and perfect, they were not cooking all the way through. And so I had to leave them in the fryer longer so that they would cook all the way through. So here's one that I put in longer. It looks almost like a meatball. I like the shape of it. It is very big for a donut too, but I like the shape. So if we see inside, this is what it looks like, and that's beautiful, cakey donut. So that has a browner color, but these ones I like the color better. This is when I think they're perfectly cooked. Inside, oh, that one actually is cooked. So I cooked a few and they were still doughy inside. So I would err on the side of making your donut holes a little bit smaller. That one's totally cooked. Let's see this one. Oh yeah, see? Goo ball. We don't want that. That is an uncooked donut. No, no, no. So err on the side of making smaller, which I did. Then I switched to using 2 teaspoons to dollop the dough into the oil. I was concerned with that method they would not turn out round, but I was wrong. Look, they still come out round. Sometimes they have little tails on them, but that's okay. But generally speaking, they're nice and round. But more importantly, they are fully cooked. Look at that. We're supposed to dust these in sugar, but I cannot wait. Let's give these a taste. Here we go. Itadakimasu. Do you hear that? These are freshly fried, so the outside has a really nice crust on them, just a very light, tender crust. Listen. Hear that? Not even a shell, but just a tender crust. Like when you toast your toast, you have just like a little bit of a crunch, which is such a nice contrast to the rich, cakey middle. I love that these donuts are not too sweet. Not at all. I thought, oh my gosh, 2 1/4 cups of sugar, but we had 6 cups of flour. They taste nice and rich from that egg and milk, but not overly heavy. And I think that's really important because we deep fried this dough. So we don't want anything to be greasy or heavy. Alrighty. So I tasted it initially and it was already pretty stinking great. But let's go ahead and dust them with powdered sugar to make them even sweeter and more, you know, classic powdered sugar donut flavor. Oh, by the way, the flavor of the maize and the nutmeg together, classic combination, totally spot on to that interior of a donut's flavor. That's what this tastes like, but better. The interior of these, in my opinion, are much more moist and not kind of dry and cakey. These ones, but granted, they are freshly fried. Alrighty, let's dust our balls. So I've got a big bowl. I'm gonna add some powdered sugar to it. I'm gonna add my spud nuts now. Just few at a time. Now I've let these cool a little bit. I think if we were to put these in hot, it might react with the powdered sugar adversely. So they're just cool just a few minutes, but there's still a little bit of oil on there to help the powdered sugar stick. Look at that. Alrighty, this is how it's intended to be eaten. Look at that inside. Golden, fluffy, beautiful, cakey. We've got all that powdered sugar on the outside. I have to say, the powdered sugar is crucial, in my opinion, for this experience. It gives that lovely melt-away sweetness that I associate with powdered donuts. I think it's so important, and it just gives it an extra bit of sweetness that makes it a dessert. Even though it's not too sweet of a dessert, it definitely needs a little bit more sugar, and this is just the right amount. So good. I love that texture. Slightly crisp but cakey in the middle. Fantastic. Some of you might be wondering, do these taste at all like potatoes? Nope, nope, not at all. Don't taste any potato whatsoever. My Batter was a little bit lumpy and I was concerned that the potatoes might make some sort of appearance, but not at all. Don't notice any potato whatsoever. If anything, it just makes it feel more moist and tastes absolutely fan-stinkin'-tastic. So if you happen to have any leftover mashed potatoes, I say go ahead and try making some Spudnuts. I think even if you had a little bit of butter and milk in your potatoes, it'd be fine for this recipe. Because there's milk and butter in this recipe anyways. A little more I don't think will hurt things. I almost forgot, I still need to taste my reindeer sausage. Kelly, these look so good. Alrighty, let's try the classic one first. This is Alaskan sausage, local made with reindeer meat, and it comes from Anchorage, Alaska. Look at that, doesn't that look fantastic? These were sitting in my refrigerator and my kids were like, well, what are those, Mama? Can I taste that? And I said, honey, I have to taste them in a video first, but I promise I will share. So my kids are looking forward to tasting these as well. So let's just cut it right through the plastic. It looks a lot like a kielbasa, right? Focus. Yep, and this is the original. And let's compare it with the hot. I have never had reindeer meat before, ever. So here's the hot. And cross-section looks pretty similar to the original. Maybe a little bit different color. Maybe a little bit more orange. Alrighty. Kelly recommends frying this up in a pan, but I've always loved eating it just like this, sliced. What is that? Mosquito? It's too late in the season. Okay, back to this. My mom would buy Polish kielbasa and I would slice it like this as a little after-school snack. And this is fully cooked, so this is totally safe. Alrighty, here we go. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Sandy. A little taste of Alaska. Delicious. First thing I notice is that the casing is nice and snappy and chewy, which I love. There's a nice punch of garlic, and it is very reminiscent to the Polish kielbasa that you can buy at the supermarket in that style. The flavor of this is fantastic though. It's garlicky, smoky, and a really nice balance between fats and meat. Very, very flavorful and absolutely delicious. Love that. My kids will love it. And not too salty. Oftentimes I find sausages to be too heavily seasoned for my palate, but not this one. Perfect balance of smoky and garlicky seasoning. And that was the original. Let's try the hot. Ooh, this one has a little bit of red in it, just a tinge. Okay, let's give this one a taste. Oh, that one's fantastic as well. The heat, I'm waiting for the heat. The heat is present, but it's not too spicy. Oh, that one's delicious. Again, a similar kind of kielbasa style sausage. The nice casing texture on the outside. This one has a little bit more bounce and spring to it in terms of texture. It has garlic in there as well and some nice smokiness, but this has a little bit of heat, like a little cayenne heat. Not necessarily a peppery flavor that I can detect, but more of just a warmth that comes after you've swallowed and it's kind of in the back of your mouth. Fantastic. My kiddos are gonna love this. They're gonna really like the hot one. They like a little bit of heat. Spicy, but not overly so. So good. That was my first taste of reindeer. That was delicious. Reindeer mixed with a couple other meats, but still, reindeer. Thanks, Kelly, for making it happen. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Get yourself a blue shirt or someone that you love. Like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Oh my gosh, I have so many donuts. Guess what? My neighbors are getting donuts. But I'm gonna have some more sausage. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Give thanks, reindeer.